This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Apply the parking brake and block the wheels. Pull the hood release lever underneath the steering wheel. Slide the safety latch and raise the hood, then support it with the rod. Loosen the clamp nut, then disconnect the negative battery cable from the terminal. Drain the cooling system. If the vehicle has just been driven, wait several hours to allow the engine to cool before beginning this procedure. Once the engine is completely cool, remove the radiator cap. Move a large container under the radiator drain fitting to catch the coolant. Attach a 3/8-inch diameter hose to the drain fitting to direct the coolant into the container. Then open the drain fitting. If the drain fitting is stuck, use a pair of pliers to turn it. While the coolant is draining, check the condition of the radiator hoses, heater hoses, and clamps. Replace any damaged clamps or hoses. Disconnect the PCV hose from the air outlet tube. Remove the air outlet tube by loosening the hose clamps on each side, then disconnecting the tube from the intake manifold and throttle body. Prevent the water pump pulley from turning by wedging a screwdriver between a water pump pulley bolt and the pulley shaft. Then break the fan nut loose from the water pump pulley by turning it counterclockwise. Completely unscrew the fan from the pulley. Then carefully ease it down to the bottom of the shroud and allow it to rest there temporarily. Remove the upper fan shroud bolts. Then carefully lift the fan and shroud out together as an assembly. Loosen, but don't remove the water pump pulley bolts. Rotate the tensioner and remove the drive belt. Disconnect the electrical connectors from the top of the alternator. Remove the 3 alternator mounting bolts. Pull out and rotate the alternator to expose the rear wiring. Pull off the protective cover, then remove the nut. And attach the cable. Remove the alternator. Remove the water pump pulley. Remove the bolts securing the alternator mounting bracket to the engine block. Then remove the bracket. Slide the hose clamps back from the ends of the hoses. Then disconnect the coolant hoses from the water pump. Remove the water pump mounting bolts. Note the locations of the various lengths and different types of bolts as they're removed to ensure correct installation. Detach the water pump from the engine. If the pump is stuck, strike it with a hammer. Do not pry between the pump and the engine, or you could damage the gasket sealing surfaces. Compare the new pump to the old one and make sure they're identical. Remove all traces of old gasket material from the engine gasket surface with a gasket scraper. Clean the engine and new water pump gasket mating surfaces with brake system cleaner. Clean the bolt threads and the threaded holes in the engine to remove corrosion and sealant. Apply a thin layer of RTV sealant to the gasket mating surface of the new pump. Then carefully mate the gasket and the pump. Also apply a thin coat of RTV sealant to the engine side of the new gasket. Carefully attach the pump and gasket to the engine and thread the bolts into the holes, tightening them by hand only at this stage. Install the remaining pump bolts, making sure the various length bolts are installed to their correct locations. Tighten them by hand. Tighten the pump bolts evenly in a crisscross pattern to the specified torque setting in quarter-turn increments. Do not over-tighten them or the pump may be distorted. Connect the cooling hoses to the water pump, then secure the hoses with the hose clamps. Install the alternator mounting bracket to the engine and screw on the bolts. Avoid cross-threading these bolts. Tighten the bracket bolts securely. Install the alternator. Place the alternator near the mounting bracket and connect the cable. Install the nut and tighten it securely. Then install the protective cover. Rotate the alternator onto the mounting bracket and install the bolts. Tighten the bolts securely. Connect the remaining alternator electrical connectors. Install the water pump pulley. Tighten the pulley bolts as securely as possible at this stage, but delay tightening to the specified torque setting until the drive belt is installed. Install the drive belt, loosely routing it on the pulleys and making sure the belt is located evenly on all the pulley grooves. Rotate the tensioner to allow the belt to be slipped onto the pulley, then release it, applying tension to the belt. Double check to make sure that the ribs of the belt engage the pulley grooves correctly. Tighten the water pump pulley bolts to the specified torque setting. Install the fan and shroud coupled together into the engine. Install and tighten the fan shroud upper mounting bolts securely. Screw the fan nut onto the water pump pulley shaft until it stops. While preventing the pulley from turning, tighten the fan to water pump nut to the specified torque setting. Install the air outlet tube. Connect the PCV hose to the tube. Tighten the hose clamps securely. Connect the negative cable to the battery terminal. Tighten the cable nut securely. Refill the cooling system. Close and tighten the radiator drain fitting. Place the heater temperature control in the maximum heat position. Slowly add the proper type of new coolant, which consists of a 50-50 mixture of water and antifreeze, to the radiator until it is full. Also add coolant to the reservoir up to the lower mark. Leave the radiator cap off and run the engine in a well-ventilated area until the thermostat opens. Coolant will begin flowing through the radiator and the upper radiator hose will become hot. Turn the engine off and let it cool completely. Add more coolant mixture to bring the level back up to the lip on the radiator filler neck. Squeeze the upper radiator hose to expel air, then add more coolant mixture if necessary. Install the radiator cap. Top off the coolant reservoir if necessary. Start the engine, allow it to reach normal operating temperature, and check for leaks.